Anthony Broadwater had hoped and prayed for this moment for 40 years.
Representations of counsel, this court grants defendant's motion. They take his conviction in the indictment.
Syracuse Judge Gordon Cuffey overturned the rape conviction that had put Broadwater in prison for 16 years and marked him as a sex offender for most of his life. Broadwater had always maintained his innocence, but he went to prison after a rape victim pointed him out in a courtroom in 1982. That victim was 18-year-old Alice Sebold, a freshman at Syracuse University. In 1981, she was raped while walking home from a friend's house through Thorndon Park. After telling police she saw her attacker on Marshall Street weeks later, she was asked to pick him out of a lineup. This is Anthony Broadwater, but instead she picked this man. Even after that, Broadwater remained a suspect in the case.
You picked out number 5, Mr. Broadwater should have been released, and the investigation should have started anew.
Months later in court, Sebold was asked to identify her attacker. She looked across the courtroom and picked Anthony Broadwater. That was a moment he remembers too.
I didn't know that my fate was sealed.
The evidence that sent Broadwater to prison was Sebold's identification of him in court and a forensic case built on microscopic hair analysis, evidence that is now considered junk science by the FBI. Sebold wrote about the traumatic experience in her novel Lucky, which sold over 1 million copies. Broadwater was convicted of first-degree rape and endured more than 16 years in prison. But Broadwater never stopped fighting for his innocence. He had to scrape by since his release from prison in 1999, working odd jobs, burdened by the reputation of a convicted rapist. He stayed a registered sex offender for nearly 40 years.
These are things that he will never get back. Anyone who took the time to look objectively at the facts, to look a little deeper into what actually happened, you quickly come to the conclusion that this was wrong.
I'm not going to, sully these proceedings by saying I'm sorry. That doesn't cut it. This should never have happened.
Injustice can happen to anybody. You just got to be so tenacious to fight it. You got to have the perseverance, and you got to always never give up.
Still, Broadwater says he feels sympathy for Alice Sebold.
Something did happen, but I wasn't the person. If she had doubt, she should have came forward and said, hey, it wasn't this man.
8 days after Broadwater was exonerated, Sebold apologized to him publicly, saying, I will continue to struggle with the role that I unwittingly played within a system that sent an innocent man to jail.
One question during trial. Do you remember seeing the accuser in court?
Yes. She got on the stand, and I remember the question was asked, do you see the perpetrator in the room that did this crime to you? And she said, yes, that black man right there. And I looked around and I said, I'm the only black man in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm the only black person in the whole courtroom. And I told Steve Parkett to object to it. I said, you got to do something. What's going on in this courtroom?
Yeah.
This is not right. And I didn't know that my fate was sealed.
He spent 16 years in prison after being wrongly convicted of rape. His accuser, a best-selling author, is now apologizing, saying she's truly sorry. But how do you undo such a life-altering mistake? Here's Les Trent.
Tears of joy as a man wrongly accused of rape is exonerated after spending 16 years in prison. Anthony Broadwater, now 61 years old, broke down in tears when he heard the judge throw out the conviction.
Mr. Broadwater cannot get those 16 years back.
His accuser was Alice Sebold, author of The Lovely Bones, which was made into a major movie starring Mark Wahlberg.
It's gonna be okay. My dad knows I'm here.
Her rape at age 18 took place when she was a college student in upstate New York, years before she became famous.
Sebold says it happened here in this 76-acre park
overlooking Syracuse University where she was a freshman. Months went by and there was no arrest. Then, one day, Alice Sebold was walking down this street and she says she came face to face with the man who attacked her. It was Anthony Broadwater. He was found guilty after Sebold took the stand and identified him as her rapist.
The people that knew me and know my character, they know that wasn't me.
Doubts about his guilt were raised when movie producer Timothy Mucciante started investigating the story as he prepared to make a movie based on Sebold's memoir about the rape called Lucky.
Anyone who reads the transcript of the trial and compares it to her book, there's quite a lot that's omitted that a reader would look at and say, you know, this doesn't add up, just like I did.
Sebold, now 58 years old, had nothing to say as she walked her dog in San Francisco where she lives.
Anything to say to Anthony Broadwater?
But on Tuesday, she issued a public apology to Broadwater in which she acknowledged he had been wrongly accused. I am sorry most of all for the fact that the life you could have led was unjustly robbed from you, and I know that no apology can change what happened to you and never will.
What do you think of that apology?
If it's sincerely from my heart, I can accept it.
The publisher of Lucky says it has ceased publication until they decide if the book can be properly revised.